Being synonymous with sisterhood. Again, this is I.S.U.P.K, no TITHES Canada. This is the Canada sphere, the Toronto sphere. In I.S.U.P.K, we got a lot of different zones. For tuning in for the first time, make sure you look at the sphere near you. We got spheres all over North and South Central America. We got spheres in the UK, Caribbean Islands. Make sure you check out a sphere near you. Again, if you're tuning in for the first time, take a look at the chat. There's a sign-in link. If you're interested in joining the sphere, make sure you hit the sign-in link. And support this sphere, support this page. Like, share, and subscribe. Like if you're watching on Facebook. Share this video. Share this video. Get this out there to our people. We are the priests of the Lord. Teaching our people, teaching Israelites, the children of God, how to treat one another. That it is the Most High requires of us. And we're showing love to our people. Showing love to Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans. As it says in the book of Ezekiel, that there will be a time where amongst our captivity there will be a little sanctuary. And I.S.U.P.K is that sanctuary. It's a place of safety. That's what this school is. It's a place of safety for Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans. It's a place where you will learn to do what the Most High requires of you. It's a place where you come to serve your people, to join the Lord's army, to be a servant and a soldier for your people, for your loved ones. To protect, to guide our people. And teaching this battle, which nobody has been teaching. Nobody teaches the truth. And I.S.U.P.K, we're not affiliated with any other group for a million good reasons. We're not affiliated with any Christian organization. We're not affiliated with any other Hebrew Israelite church. We're not affiliated with any Muslim group, any Black Panther, Black Party group. We know that goes inside of our lives. We know that we teach the truth of the Bible. And we are men and women of integrity. Men and women who keep the last statutes and commandments of the Most High. We do what is required of us. What's required of us is to be in order. And to follow Christ, to do what he says. As it says in the New Testament, not to love in word, but to love in deed. That's what Christ taught. The disciples understood that. And for Black, Hispanic, and Native American, that is what you need to do. You need to love in deed. To love with your actions. To be about something. Not just to show you love your brothers, not just to show you love your wives, not just to show you love your kids, but to actually do it. To actually go out and feed the poor. To actually go out and clothe the naked, clothe the homeless, visit the prisons, help our people. So again, this is Tuesday's Not Better class. Make sure you hit that sign-in link, like, share, subscribe. And we're going to get into the topic a bit. So this is Tuesday's Not Better class. Every Tuesday night, we teach our people how to love each other, how to be a good brother, how to be a good sister. Tonight's topic is about separation, segregation, being separate, being early, being set apart, not acting and cleaving on to these other nations, but sincerely That's from the beginning of Genesis to the end of Revelation. And this has decided us to be separate. This is a sad thing to see in Christianity. And that's something I talk a lot about. That's something none of the men in the I.S.U.P.K talk a lot about. Because we understand how detrimental Christianity is to our people. You think of the word holy, and you think of your grandmother. You think of your pastor. You hear that word holy, you think your pastor's going to be up in the sky with wings flying around in the heavens because he believes in Jesus and he had his shaved beard and his nice suit and tie, and he made it. And that's what a lot of people think being holy is. Trying to be like that you see in the Christian church. But that is not what the Most High defines as being holy. Doesn't matter where we are on earth, there is only one way to be holy according to the Most High. There's only one way to be righteous. There's only one way to follow the Most High, and to be perfect in His eyes. And that's by doing what He says. You understand? It is very easy to prove that your Christian pastor is not doing what the Most High says. This is why you see Christian pastors being left out because they're embezzling money, because they're abusing their kids. I've heard about some real garbage stories about all the pedophilia that goes on in the Christian church. You understand? We guarantee that we are going to see another news article pop up about something disgusting that some Christian pastor did. And it is because they do not love and do. You understand? Their actions speak louder than words. Christian pastors eating Christian tabernacle. That is against what the Most High commands. The Christian pastors telling you to celebrate Thanksgiving. That is against what the Most High commands. The Christian pastor speaking of somebody's rights in the congregation. There's a story, I just heard a story about a Christian pastor, and he had all the women in the church, he was telling the women in the church for sex. Bunch of different women growing up in the church, he was telling them for sex. And there was a sister who came out and spoke about it, and she actually spoke on how she missed going back to that church. She missed the singing, she missed the dancing, she missed going up in the church, all the memories. Meanwhile, her pastor was molesting her. Meanwhile, the pastor was putting her to sex services at a young age. Those are the kinds of disgusting things that I hear about, that everybody hears about over and over again in the Christian church. You understand? And the Most High told the children of Israel, you read about it in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, that he would, as a punishment for disobeying him, he would say that it died. He would tell it out Jesus. He would tell it out loud. He would tell it to do that. He would get into all these different philosophies and religions and worship strange gods. If you chose to disobey him, that is a curse in the Most High. And if you're not Hispanic or Native American, you are not allowed to do those things. Now, matter of fact, that is another even thing that Christianity teaches our people, is that we have free will. Every Christian pastor is going around teaching the people at their church that we have free will. Teaching Black, Hispanic, Native Americans that they have free will, free choice to do what it is they want. And that is the same thing that Satan told Eve in the garden. Satan told Eve, do what you want. Do it the bad. Learn this different wisdom. Learn this knowledge. You understand? Satan told Eve that you can do what you want. Do what you want to do. You understand? He convinced that woman to do something she shouldn't have been doing. That is the Christian pastor tells you you have free will. Black man, Hispanic man, and Native American man. That is the Christian pastor tells you the lies of the Messiah done it earlier. This is the against the Messiah. That's last. I'm going to see if you might be having some technical difficulties. In 1 minute. Testing. 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 Testing.
Testing. Sound test. Sound test. Shalom, Yahbashim Shabbat. Salaki, the sound okay?
Now it's still up.
Okay. All right. Salakia, Israel, for the technical difficulties. All right, we're back up. Salakia, so let's rewind just a little bit. Again, this is Tuesday's night brotherhood class. All right, we're the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge under commanding General YAHANNA, which is started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. All right, the topic of tonight is about separation. I'm going to fly through a couple things just to try to make up some time. All right, this class is from 5 o'clock till 7 o'clock every Tuesday night. Make sure you hit that sign-in link. The sign-in link is in the chat. Like, share, subscribe. All right, and we are teaching Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans brotherhood. All right, brotherhood being synonymous with sisterhood. Brotherhood is the same thing as sisterhood. All right. Every Tuesday night, we're teaching brotherhood to our people, teaching each other, teaching how to treat one another, how it is we are to conduct ourselves, how it is we are to be. Right? And we learn that by separating from these other nations. We learn true brotherhood when we start to segregate and separate from all these different heathens. When we separate ourselves from the Asians, when we separate ourselves from the Africans, when we separate ourselves from these Europeans, the oppressor, the devil the Bible speaks of. And as we separate from them, we separate from the philosophies that they teach. All right. And the last thing that I left off at, I was speaking on one of the philosophies that this place teaches is free will, right? And part of that philosophy stems out of Christianity. Right? Christianity is a very evil and destructive thing for our people. It's been teaching our people lies on the Most High, lies on the Bible. It's been teaching us to love in word and not to love in deed, not to love with our actions. A lot of people, when they think of the word holy, you think of your Christian pastor or your grandmother who's been sitting in the church for the last 30 years. And that is not how the Bible defines being holy. That is not how the Bible defines being a good person. The Bible defines being a good brother and a good sister by obeying what the Most High commands. By being perfect in the Most High's eyes is doing what he says. There was a story on, there's a story about a Christian pastor who was paying the women in his church for sex, paying young women in his church for sex, telling them to keep quiet. And this story came out because one of the sisters, as she got older, she went on to speak on how she misses all the memories of going to that church, regardless of the molestation going on from the pastor. How she missed singing in the church, how she missed all the memories of growing up in that church. Meanwhile, the pastor was paying for sex services with all these different women. And because of these evil things like Christianity, it's taught our people this false idea of what it is to be holy. Thinking that your pastor is going to be up in heaven with wings flying around in God's good graces. Meanwhile, he's committing all different types of disgusting acts and doing evil things towards his brothers and sisters. That is not the definition of holy. To be holy is to be separate. To separate yourselves from the rest of this world. Separate yourselves from the philosophies of these heathen. You understand? Christians are going around teaching that free will is a good thing, and that everybody has free will. That's the same thing Satan was telling Eve in the garden. It's the same thing that some devil was telling a sister, that she has free will to do what she wants, and that things will be good for her. She can make her own choices, her own decisions. She can gain this wisdom and knowledge of other people, of other nations, and she will have a good life because of it. That's a lie from the devil himself. It's a lie of Christianity. That is not how you are supposed to serve the Most High. That is not how you're going to be a good brother or a good sister. By listening and following these other nations of people. You learn to do that by being separate, by being holy, by being righteous, by being different. You understand? Being in the I.S.U.P.K, there's a lot of brothers in this school. I'm going to say every brother in this school, we're just built different. The things that we're able to endure, we are built different. We are men of war. We are men of integrity. We don't carry ourselves the same way that everybody else carries themselves. And that is what the Black, Hispanic, and Native American community needs. For men and women to be different, to be separate, to be holy. All right. And just for time's sake, we're gonna try to keep it moving. I want to try to get through some of these verses. I got a quick video I'm going to share. Again, tonight's topic is on separation. It is extremely important for our people. All right. The Bible doesn't tell us that everybody should like us and that we should be happy-go-lucky people with smiles on our faces everywhere we go. And the more people that like us, the more likes we get on our Facebook pages, the more people that like us at work, does not mean we're following Christ. You understand? That's the definition of a good Christian. To just put a smile on your face, go around hugging people, having more people like you. That is not how you become a good brother. That is not how you be a good sister. All right. Quick shout out to the chat. Shalom, Sister Kalpa. Y'all Shmar Bashim Yao Shai. All right. Again, Salakia for the technical difficulties we had. But we're back up. We're running. Going to try to get through all this. I'm going to bring out a quick video. Just something I watched yesterday. Because there's a lot of disgusting things that go on with our people. Or it goes on in our communities. I don't want people to ever forget where it is we live and what it is that's going on with our people today. All right, we're damn near serving 500 years of slavery and oppression, and we need to get out of this. We need to come back to being the good brothers and sisters again to one another. All right, I'm going to share this video. This was a sad thing for me to watch. A lot of the stories that happened to our people, it was very sad to watch. It's unfortunate to see all the hell that we go through as a people. But there is a way out of this.
Yes. Are now over. Please wait your turn to family members. This is pretty sick. Thank you.
And so
All right. Baraki Allah, can you grab Romans chapter 9 and verse 13 for me, Baba Kasha?
Khan.
Salaki, is the audio still okay?
It's still Tawab.
Come. All right. So that is just a video of another brother who lost his life to the police. Another brother executed. Another family in mourning. You understand? Another Israelite family who is in mourning because of the loss of their loved ones. And I'm showing that video kind of as a starting off to this class, just to kind of set the tone of what it is this class is about tonight. All right. Again, this is Tuesday night brotherhood class. And we are teaching how to love our people. All right. We are teaching how to be a disciple of Christ. Christ said that you will know who my disciples are because they love their brethren, because they show brotherhood, because they show sisterhood. This is how you know who my disciples are. You understand? This is a teaching of Christ. So why is it that I'm showing that video? Let's pull some scriptures on it. Brock, can you read that verse when you got it?
Khan. This is the book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated.
Come. Something we got to understand is that the Most High hates. You understand? Again, why we talk about Christianity so much is because there's so much lies. There's so much lies that they tell on the Bible. Our people are a very spiritual people. And we look to our leaders to guide us. All right? That is one of the main issues in our community, is that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans lack good leadership. Well, the leader in the I.S.U.P.K, he pulled out this Bible and started reading it and started teaching it to our people. I was a Christian for a couple years, and I never heard this verse brought out. Read that verse again, Baba Kasha.
Khan. Romans chapter 9, verse 13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated.
I have never heard a Christian pastor tell the congregation that God hates a race of people, that God hates a particular race of people. And it is very important for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to understand that. God hates. He hates the European man. He hates the oppressor, the devil the Bible speaks of. And it is for a good reason. You read about in the book of Ezekiel, I think it's chapter 33, that Esau had a perpetual hatred. He continues to shed the blood of the children of Israel. And because of that, he must be destroyed. You can read about the destruction of that nation that is coming in the book of Obadiah. You can read about it in Malachi. You can read about it in Micah, Joel, Ezekiel, Isaiah, Revelation. You read about it all over the Bible. God hates a particular race of people. And it is because of the things that they do on earth. It is because of the things that they do to his chosen people, to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And we got to understand that so that we can shake some of these philosophies that we've learned in the world off and learn to truly love our people. Too many of us are busy trying to save the white man, trying to save our oppressor, trying to make sure that they get a seat in the kingdom of heaven. Meanwhile, your cousin, who you haven't picked up the phone and called in the last 10 years, is in need of some help. You understand? Some brothers are out here so worried about not marrying a gold digger when she grew up oppressed just like you did. She grew up trying to find a way out of this hell just as you are. And instead of focusing on how to heal and guide that woman and how to deal with that woman, too many of us want to throw our women away and cleave to these other nations. Run out the hood, run out the ghetto. Leave our brothers and sisters behind to say that we made it. And that's not the spirit that we should be moving in. You understand? It's a disgusting thing to see our people get a little money and then move into some oppressor's neighborhood. And you see them, they act like their oppressor, they talk like their oppressor, they move like their oppressor, they try to fit in with their oppressor. And they look at their brothers and sisters like they're less than. And that's not the spirit that Christ wanted us to move in. Throwing away your brothers and sisters is not how you show brotherhood. Cleaving to these other nations is not how you show brotherhood. Throwing away our sisters for women of another nation is not how you show brotherhood. But separating yourselves from these other nations and fixing your own household, that is how you show brotherhood. That is how you love your neighbor. That is how you love your friends, the people that are living beside you, your kinsmen, your countrymen, the people right beside you in the hood, the people right beside you in the ghetto, the people right beside you in that roach-infested apartment. Those are the people that need love. Those are the people that need salvation. Those are the people who are struggling to get by, being oppressed in this kingdom. You understand? Read that verse again.
Romans chapter 9, verse 13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated.
Come. The Most High hates Esau. You understand? We just watched that video. That is why the Most High hates Esau. Because he sheds the blood of his people, of his chosen people. The people that he told to be holy, to be separate, not to cleave to these other nations. That is why the Most High hates Esau. And that's something we really have to get into our spirits as a people. We got to understand who this race of people is, who they are, what their spirit is, their character, their nature. And if you look at their history, it speaks for itself. I just read an article about an hour ago about some more search they're doing in Brantford, Ontario, which was the last residential school to be shut down. I think the date was as early as, I think it was around 1980s, maybe 1990s. Yeah, I think it was 1990 something. Residential school in Bradford. Telling our Gadite brothers and sisters to lose their culture, to lose their identity, and to take on the culture of their oppressor. That school was open while we were all in elementary school. Some of us were in elementary school. You understand? So that 20 years ago, this school's open. And Canada likes to believe that they're not racist, that they're not oppressing people, that it's some safe, loving place to live. The nation of people that is in power in Canada, they're a disgusting race of people. Don't ever forget who they are. They're the people that have a public school on every block in Canada to raise your kids and teach them how to be like them, how to fit in into their society and their culture. They're the ones telling you got to shave your beard, that you can't have braids or cornrows. You understand? They were cutting those braids off of those Native Indian kids as soon as they got into school. This is the place we live. You understand? Barack, can you grab Matthew 25? Let's go to Matthew 25. I think it's verse 31.
Matthew chapter 25, verse 31. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory.
Right. There's a time where Christ is going to come back. You understand? There was a promise that the Most High gave to David that he would rule over the nation of Israel. You understand? Or that promise was given to King Solomon. You can read about that in the book of Samuel. And through Solomon, you had Christ come up a couple generations later. And Christ is the one who is built to rule the nation of Israel. He is the only man worthy to rule our people. You understand? The only begotten Son of the Most High. His most beloved, his most cherished Son. Because he does everything that is required of him. And when he comes back, he is coming to rule. He is coming to rule every nation on earth. To put every nation in its place. Keep reading.
Verse 32. And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he
Right. And when he comes, he's going to gather all nations of people. He's going to gather Japanese. He's going to gather the Chinese. He's going to gather the Africans. He's going to gather the East Indians. He's going to gather the Europeans. He's going to gather the Israelites. He's going to gather all nations of people. Keep reading.
And he shall separate them one from another.
And he shall separate them one from another. Christ, who every black household, black, Hispanic, and Native American household is teaching their kids to follow. This brother is coming back and he is going to separate all nations of people. He's not going to unite them. He's not going to unite everybody like the Christian church is teaching. He's not going to unite everybody like the Nation of Islam is teaching. These religions are telling the whole earth that you need to believe in what we believe. Believe in what we believe, or you're going to have some terrible judgment and punishment come on you. Something bad is going to happen if you do not convert to our ways of thinking, our ways of living. That's what Christianity teaches. That's what Islam teaches. That's what every public school in Canada teaches. That's what your Democratic Party teaches. Everybody is teaching unity. Everybody needs to unite. Everybody needs to sacrifice what they believe in order for us to unite. Everybody should accept these homosexuals. Everybody should accept these transgenders. Everybody should accept everybody's way of living. Let's just unite. And that goes against everything that the Most High wants. That goes against everything that the Most High commands the children of Israel. And when Christ comes back, he is coming back to do the will of the Father. He is coming back to separate the nations. You understand? Everywhere in North America is known as some great melting pot. You walk down the city of Toronto, you're going to see Chinatown. You're going to see all the Koreans gathered together. You're going to see little Jamaica. You're going to see little Italy. You're going to see all the Polish people. You're going to see all the East Indians gathered together, all the Europeans. Everybody's going to be in the city of Toronto, all these different nations of people, learning how to come together and unite. You read about in the book of Genesis, I think it's chapter 18, says the Most High divided the nations and separated the bounds. He set the people in their own lands. This is something right from the beginning that the Most High wanted for this earth. And that is the same thing Christ is coming back to do. He's coming back to separate. I remember there's a person in the world I was speaking to a couple years ago. They used to pride themselves in how what do they call it? How diverse or how multicultural their church was. They loved going to this church because all the white people and the Asian people and the black people and Hispanic people are all coming together. We have such great diversity, and this is the place of God. That goes against everything that Christ wanted. Everything that the Most High wanted. Keep reading.
As a shepherd divided his sheep from the goats.
Gone. As a shepherd divideth the sheep. As a good leader, as somebody who is set up to protect us. It's what a shepherd does. Shepherd protects its sheep, guides its sheep. All over the Bible, Christ is known as what? A shepherd, the good shepherd. You understand? A good leader, somebody who's capable of protecting us. And what that good leader is going to do, read that last part again.
And he shall separate them from one from another, as the shepherd divided his sheep from the goats.
Right. Good leader separates the sheep from the goats. A good leader protects his people. Keep reading.
Verse 33. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left.
Come. When he comes back, he's going to set the sheep on his right hand. That is a very good thing if you're Black, Hispanic, or Native American. You understand? Bro, hold that verse for me really quick. Or hold that. It says in the book of Jeremiah, pull that verse really quick. Jeremiah 50 and verse 17 says, Israel is a scattered sheep. Read that verse again.
And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left.
God. Book of Revelation says that the Bible is bitter. You understand? The Bible is the words in this Bible are hard to digest. It's a hard pill to swallow. It's a hard pill to swallow for Blacks, Hispanics, or Native Americans that the Most High wants us to separate. It's a hard pill to swallow to know that the Most High hates a race of people because of some of the things that we grew up learning. But after that hard pill to swallow, after that hard thing to digest, the book of Revelation says after you digest it, then it's sweet. Sweet like honey. You understand? Like, Baraki Allah, how good is it to know that the Most High is going to set Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans on his right hand? Like, we are going to be his right hand. We are going to be the people that he protects and guides, that he sets on high. Like, that is a beautiful thing to know if you're Black, Hispanic, or Native American. Right? Because for how long have we been living in every ghetto, barrio, and reservation? For how long have we been living under oppression? Right? The scriptures say that when Christ comes back, he's going to wipe away the tears from the children of Israel. The tears of that woman who was screaming and crying over the loss of her loved one. That is what we need as a people. And that is what Christ is coming back to do. He's coming back to separate us. And he's coming back to put his sheep on his right hand. All right, keep reading.
Verse 34. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come, ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world.
Come. If you're Black, Hispanic, and Native American, the kingdom of heaven was prepared for you from the foundation of the earth, from the foundation of the world. You understand? That is a beautiful thing to know. That somebody loves you. Somebody cares about you. Somebody has the kingdom of heaven prepared for you. There is a place of power, a place of authority, a beautiful kingdom, a beautiful government that is prepared for us. You understand? And though the goats that he puts on his left hand, they are not getting in the kingdom. They are not getting the promises that were given to you. These other nations are not getting the promises and the covenants that were given to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You understand? Christ is coming back to separate the nations. Right? Let's drop that. Let's go to Deuteronomy 7 and verse 1. We really got to understand what the Most High wants for us as a people. And in understanding this, this will help get us out of the condition that we're in. How many Black households are broken and destroyed? How many of us are getting divorces? How much fighting and chaos is there amongst our families? There is a solution to all of that. And it starts with understanding that the things you've been taught, they are not working. All the lessons you've learned in life about being a good person, all the lessons you learned in life about how to be a husband or how to be a wife, how to be a friend, they are not working. Nobody raised us right. Nobody taught us properly. Like it says in the book of Psalms that we were born into iniquity right out of our mother's womb. Because our parents didn't teach us the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. They didn't teach us to obey God. They didn't teach us to love our brothers, to love our sisters. All right, go ahead and read that verse when you got it.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 1. When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and has cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou.
Right. When the children of Israel were coming out of Egypt, when we were coming out of oppression, when we were coming out of slavery, coming out of bondage, when we were getting ourselves together as a nation, when we had good leadership, we had Moses telling us what it is that the Most High required of us. The Most High was saying that as we get ready to go into this promised land, right, he's going to cast out these other nations. When we get the kingdom of heaven, there's not going to be a whole bunch of other nations just living amongst us, holding hand in hand with each other. Like that promised land was promised to us. And the Most High was getting ready to drive out these other nations so that we could be in a place of peace, out of our bondage, out of our oppression, and to be set in our own kingdom, our own rulership, a place where we could dwell in peace, where we would have our laws, statutes, and commandments, our own constitution, our own king, not somebody else ruling over us. Not a king that's passing laws telling your kids that they should be dressing up as women, that our little boys should be dressing up as women, to be teaching to some 7, 8-year-olds some nonsense that 2 dads is normal and 2 mothers are normal. That promised land that the Most High had for us, that was going to be our place of peace. Salakia, to anybody that has kids like that, it is hell having kids. Having to worry about all the nonsense in this society that you got to protect them from. All the people you got to keep them away from. You understand? It is not a place of peace. But that promised land that the Most High had for the children of Israel, that was a place of peace. And it didn't include other nations. Keep reading.
Verse 2. And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them.
Khan. God is not this God that loves everybody and cares about everybody. When we were getting ready to go in the promised land, the Most High was giving us the power to destroy our enemies, to kill our enemies, to smite our enemies, to get them out of our land, to put them under our subjection, under our rulership. Like so many Christians are going around today trying to save their oppressor, thinking that the kingdom of heaven is going to have a bunch of white people running around in rulership, just running around happy-go-lucky, sharing in the same promises that the Most High has for them. But that is not how it's going to be. These other nations that are near or in our kingdom, they're going to be our slaves. They're going to be our servants. They're going to be our handmaids. Understand? It says that God does not change. He's not different in the Old Testament from the New Testament. Right? We just read about it in the book of Matthew 25. Christ is going to come back and separate the nations. And he's going to give the sheep the kingdom of heaven. You understand? He's going to give the scattered sheep, the lost sheep of the house of Israel. He's going to give us the kingdom of heaven. You understand? This kingdom is not for everybody. And we really got to get that in our systems. Right? Let's drop that. Let's keep going. Let's go grab the book of Joshua 23, verse 11, Baba Kasha.
Khan.
All right. Quick shout out to the chat. Shalom, Jules. Yao Shamal Thumb Bashim Shai. The water for tuning in, sis. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Hit the sign-in link before the class ends. I'll make sure I post the sign-out links if you're interested in joining the school. We're in the book of Joshua, chapter 23. Let's start at verse 11. right? When Christ was here, Christ told Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that the whole law hinges on these two things: to love the Most High with all your heart, all your soul, your mind, your strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. Understand? Christ was perfect. Christ kept all the laws, statutes, and commandments. Christ is the perfect example on how to be a good brother. Following him and doing what he says, what he commands, what he orders. That is how you be a good brother. That is how you be a good sister. And I think you read about in the book of Peter that Peter called it the royal law. The royal law, to love the Most High with everything and to love your neighbor as yourself. And it was no different in the Old Testament. Right? You read about in the book of Deuteronomy that the Lord our God is one Lord. He is one Lord. He is one God. And we are to love him with everything. We are to put him first in everything. And what that looks like is, if you're applying for a job, you got to be thinking about, how should I put it? If I apply for this job, is this going to stop me from obeying my Father? Is this going to get in the way of me serving the Most High? Serving my brothers, serving my sisters? If I move across the country, am I going to be able to love my people? Am I going to be able to be a good brother, a good sister? If I marry this woman, is this going to be okay in the sight of the Most High's eyes? Like, every decision we make in life, we should be thinking about the Most High. Everything we do, the scriptures say, how does that go? Slaki, I can't remember that verse. But in everything that we do, you understand, the Most High should be honored. Everywhere we go, everything we do, we should be a light to other people. We should be putting honor on the Most High's name. Right? We got to always have the Most High. We got to always have the Most High in our minds when we make decisions. And if there's something that we're doing that doesn't honor the Most High, we should not be doing it. Especially what we do in the dark. What you do in the dark sometimes, that is the most important time where you can love your brothers and sisters. When nobody's watching, when you're just there by yourself at your own home. Those are the times you can show some of the most love to your people. You got an hour at night before you go to sleep. You should open up your Bible. Do some studying. Learn how to correct another Black, Hispanic, or Native American man. Learn how to make sure that you are doing what it is you need to be doing as a brother or sister. Not to be a hypocrite in the sight of men. Those are the times you can be the best brother and sister when nobody's watching. Because as you learn to genuinely follow the Most High, no matter where you go, no matter what it is you're doing, And you can always be a light to your people. You can always be a good husband. You can always be a good wife. All right, go ahead and read that verse.
Khan, Joshua chapter 23, verse 11. Take good heed, therefore, unto yourselves, that ye love the Lord your God.
Khan. You got to really pay attention to what it is you're doing. Not to be so focused on the person beside you, but to really check yourself. You understand? The example I use a lot is that people are watching. People are watching everything you do. Your kids, right from young, they're little babies. When they come out the womb, they're staring at you. They're watching everything that you do. How it is you speak, how it is you carry yourself. People are watching and they are going to emulate what it is you're doing. You understand? You're going to be an officer in this school. You got to carry yourself a certain way. Be a trooper in this school. You're going to join the I.S.U.P.K. You have to carry yourself a certain way. You can't walk around being weak all the time. You can't walk around showing the world that you're weak. Showing the world that following the Most High is too hard. Obeying the Most High is too hard. Because somebody else is watching you. Somebody else is going to emulate what it is you are doing. So we got to take heed to ourselves. You understand? And to be a good wife, take good heed to yourself. Focus on what it is you're supposed to be doing as a wife. Learn how to be shamefaced. Learn how to be submissive. Learn how it is to obey authority. To close your mouth and say kanada wan kan. To learn how to speak. You understand? All of us got to get in order. All of us have to be doing what it is we're commanded to do. Read that verse again.
Take good heed, therefore, unto yourselves, that ye love the Lord your God.
Come. Take good heed to yourself and make sure that you love the Most High. How do you love the Most High? You keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. You don't celebrate Halloween. You don't celebrate Mother's Day. You don't celebrate Father's Day. You don't celebrate Christmas. You don't do drugs. You don't smoke weed. You don't smoke cigarettes. You don't whore yourself out. You don't dance on a stripper pole. You submit to your husband. You protect your wife. You marry another Black, Hispanic, or Native American woman. You don't be a drug dealer. You don't eat pork, shrimp, crab, or lobster. You understand? You keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. That is how you love God. You understand? You don't love in word, but you love in deed. You love in your actions. What it is you do and how you carry yourself. That is how you love God. Right? Keep reading.
Verse 12. Else, if ye do in any wise go back and cleave unto the remnant of these nations,
God.
even these,
Because if you do not love the Most High, if you do not keep the commandments of the Most High, And you are going to go back to acting like these other nations. You're going to go back and cleave to these other nations. You're not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. You're following the philosophies of Canada. You're following the philosophies of America. You're following the philosophies of Christianity. You're following the philosophies of Islam. You're going to cleave to these other nations. This is why we have to separate ourselves. These other nations weren't given the law, statutes, and commandments. Right? You read about that in the book of Psalms, I think it's 147. The Most High showed his law, statutes, and commandments to Jacob. He has not dealt so with any other nation. He showed us how to be a righteous people, how to be a holy people, how to love one another, how to be good brothers, how to be good sisters. He showed us how not to live like these heathen. Like separation, segregation is how you be holy. When you don't take on the philosophies of these other people. You understand? Let's drop that. Let's go to grab Matthew 5 and verse 17, Babu Shah.
Khan. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 17. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
Khan. And somehow your Christian pastor twisted this scripture. Somehow your Christian pastor would have you believing that the laws are done away with. That it's okay to cleave to these other nations. That it's okay not to separate yourselves from these other nations. We just read in the book of Matthew 25 that Christ is coming back to separate the nations, to divide the people, not to unite everybody. Christ said, I didn't come to send peace, but I came to bring a sword. I came to bring division. I came to set a daughter against her mother, a son against his father. Christ didn't come to unify everybody. Came to separate people. Right? Keep reading.
Verse 18. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one title shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled.
Come. Like Christ said, don't get it in your head. Don't even think about it. That the laws are done away with. Don't get it in your head that it's okay to eat pork. Don't get it in your head that it's okay to divorce. Don't get it in your head that it's okay to hold a grudge. These are some of the things we read about in the law. You are not allowed to bear a grudge. You are not allowed to hold a grudge against your wife. It says that in the book of Leviticus 19 and 17. Or you read about that in the book of Leviticus 19. Not just in the Old Testament, it says it in the New. Husbands, don't be bitter towards your wives. Don't hold grudges, but forgive one another. Vice versa, wives, don't hold a grudge against your husband. Forgive that Black, Hispanic, or Native American man. And Christ said not only is the law not done away with, but to dot your I's and cross your T's. To pay attention to the details. Pay attention to everything that the Most High commands. Every detail of the law. Don't get it in your head that it's done away with. But we got to keep all the law, statutes, and commandments. Understand? Brock, y'all grab let's go to the law. Grab Leviticus 20 and 20. I think it's 20 and 26.
All
right. Double check Leviticus. Leviticus 20 and 26.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 20, verse 26. And you shall be holy unto me.
Let's read this slow, right? Christ commanded us, Christ told us that don't get it in your head that any detail of the law is done away with. Any part of the law is done away with. Everything that the Most High commanded, everything the Most High ordered, you need to keep. Black man, Hispanic man, and Native American man. You got to keep all of it. Christ said, be perfect. You understand? Follow all the laws, statutes, and commandments. Be perfect. Be righteous. Do everything that the Most High ordered you. Let's read that verse from the top.
Leviticus chapter 20, verse 26. And ye shall be holy unto me.
Be ye holy. That is a commandment. That is a order. Black man, Hispanic man, and Native American man. To be holy. Bracket Allah, what does it mean to be holy?
Salak, it means to be separate.
To be separate. Not to be like everybody else. Not to be like the Asians, not to be like the Japanese, not to be like the Koreans, not to be like the East Indians, not to follow white Jesus, not to follow all these different religions, follow all these different nations. What did they have, what was that, a couple years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago? That whole Pan-African movement. All our people trying to be African, trying to claim Africa, to be like the Hamites. It is an order from the Most High to be separate, to be holy. You understand? To actually go to a club at night. Go ahead and do some dancing. Meet a sister at the club, and when she says, here, take my number, or let's go home tonight. You know what I mean? When she goes to send you some naked picture, she tells you all the nasty things she's gonna do to you. Look at that sister and say, la sis. No, sis. I don't want to see you naked. That's what everybody else wants to see. I want to see you with some clothes on. I want to see you covered up. I'm not going to sleep with you tonight. Matter of fact, we're going to actually sit down and court each other. I'm not going to touch you for 6 months to a year. She's going to look at you like you're crazy, like you've lost your damn mind. And that is what the Most High orders you to be holy. to be separate, not to be like everybody else. It's easy to be a lustful bastard. It's easy to walk around and sleep with 20 different women. To get your numbers up, your body count up. That is what everybody does. But be holy, be separate. An animal gets horny, they go and sleep with another animal. You understand? When a dolphin gets horny, it goes and it sleeps with another dolphin. They have babies. That is what animals do. That is not what Israel is supposed to do. Israel was made in the image of the Most High. To have the ability to reason, to have the ability to receive instructions and obey the Father. Not to be like an animal. But to read, thou shalt not kill, and not take another Black, Hispanic, or Native American man's life. To read, not to be a liar. To read, not to rape women. To read, not to smoke weed or smoke cigarettes. You understand? To actually read, to use the plants as medicine. Not to get high and be a drug addict. To read those instructions, receive them, and be different. That is what we have to do, and that's how we're going to fish people into this truth. You understand? You want to teach the next generation how to be a good father or how to be a good husband. Well, you need to do what the Most High commands you to do. To suffer for your wife. To be long-suffering, not to hold a grudge. To love her as yourself. To show some compassion on her. Your children are going to see that and emulate that. Another Black, Hispanic, or Native American man is going to say, man, I've been through 2-3 divorces. What am I doing wrong? And for him to be able to look at you and be like, oh, you're different. How is it that you have 3 wives and you've been married to all of them for 20 years? How come you're able to hold together a household, but I can't? To actually be looked at as different, to be holy, to be separate, not to be like these heathen. Keep reading.
For I, the Lord, am holy,
Read.
and have severed you from other people.
And the Most High severed you from other people. That's in the law. That is the law that Christ said. Don't get it in your head that I've done away with this. Not one jot, not one tittle. The Most High severed Israel from these other nations. You understand? He severed Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans from these other people, from these other nations. And we are ordered to be separate. We are ordered to be different. We're ordered to segregate. We're ordered not to follow Martin Luther King, who tried to unite us with these other nations, tried to unite us with our oppressor. Right? Let's drop that. Let's go to, where are we going to go? Let's go to the book of Titus in the Apocrypha. Go to Titus chapter 4 and verse 12. Okay. or Salakia, Tobit. Tobit chapter 4. Tobit 4 and verse 12.
It's the book of Tobit, chapter 4, verse 12. Beware of all the whoredom, my son, and chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers.
Khan. You understand? Tobit told his son, don't be a whore. You understand? Beware of all whoredom. Beware of all whoredom, and take and marry another Israelite sister. Marry another Black, Hispanic, or Native American sister. You understand? It says in 1 Corinthians, I think it's chapter 6 and verse 9, it says, fornicators will not inherit the kingdom of heaven. You understand? This whole Bible goes together. Old Testament, New Testament, Apocrypha. Beware of all fornication. Beware of all whoredom. Don't be a fornicator. Because if you do that, you will not inherit the kingdom of heaven. Don't be a fornicator, idolater, sorcerer, sorcery, witchcraft, liars. Don't be effeminate. Don't be into reveling, partying, too much partying. Those people will not inherit the kingdom of heaven. And Tobit was telling his son this, beware of all whoredom, my son. Marry another Black, Hispanic, or Native American woman. Don't cleave to these other nations. Don't take on the philosophies of these other nations. And better yet, don't even touch their women. And so it says in Deuteronomy 7, don't make marriages with them, because they will turn you to serve other gods. This is how you be a good brother and sister to your people. You separate yourselves from these other nations. Keep reading.
And take not a strange woman to wife, which is not of thy father's tribe.
Right. Don't take a strange woman to wife. All right. You look at what O.J. Simpson's wife did to him. Look at what Tiger Woods' wife did to him. Look at what happened to Kanye West as soon as he laid down with that dog. Don't take a wife of a strange nation. Don't marry a strange woman. These things are going to lead to your destruction. Keep reading.
For we are the children of the prophets, Noah, Abraham,
Khan.
Isaac, and Jacob.
Khan. We are the children of the prophets. Understand? Barakia Allah, you are a child of the prophet.
Khan.
Sister Kawapa, you are a children of the prophet. Sister Jules, you are a child of the prophets. You are royalty. You are better than these other people. You are above these other nations. You have value. You have worth. The Most High loves you. You're a child of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Don't mess with these other nations of people. You are the child of the children of the prophets. Understand who you are as a people. Which is another reason the Most High hates Esau, as we read in Romans 9 and 13. These damn devils still will not to this day tell you who you are as a nation. They know exactly who they put into slavery. They know exactly who they took. Why aren't they teaching you your identity? Why are they teaching you in these public schools that you're African? Why are they teaching you that Africans sold Africans into slavery? Teaching you self-hatred. Teaching you that you have no value and no self-worth. Teaching you that blonde hair and blue eyes is beautiful. Teaching you that there's something wrong with the color of your skin. There's something wrong with the texture of your hair. We are the children of prophets. We are royalty. You understand? Matter of fact, drop that, grab what's that verse? Ecclesiastes. I think it's Ecclesiastes 11. Ecclesiastes 10 and verse 7, Baba Kasha.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 10, verse 7. I have seen servants upon horses, and princes walking as servants on the earth.
King Solomon saw this. King Solomon read the book of Genesis and read that the elder shall serve the younger. That the nation of Esau was meant to be servants, meant to serve their brother Jacob. That these Europeans were made to serve Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. They weren't supposed to be in power. They're not supposed to be your authority. They're not the people you should be looking at as to guide you on how to live. They're not the ones to be looking to govern and teach you how to be a good husband and a good wife. They're not the ones to teach you how to raise your kids, to teach you how to be a good brother. These people are servants. What the hell are they doing over you? Why are they oppressing you? Why are they telling you how to raise your kids? Why are you living in every ghetto, barrio, and reservation? You are the children of prophets. You understand? It is a sad thing what King Solomon saw. And it's a sad thing to see the state of our people today. You're the children of prophets, man. Don't join yourself to these other nations. Don't cleave on to their way of life. The first time Esau ever took a bath is when he met an Israelite. When those nasty, stinking Edomites came out of those caves and started to oppress our people. The hell are you doing following their ways of life? They didn't come to North America and start coming up with all these inventions. They put royalty into slavery. They put the children of prophets into slavery. And they had you invent the GPS system. They had you invent the internet. They had you invent whole plumbing systems for a country. They had you invent how to get into space. They had you teach their kids how to read and write, how to nurse their babies. The children of prophets taught you how to cultivate the land. We built America, not them. Everywhere Israel goes, you see greatness. You got buildings out in Egypt to this day standing. They call those pyramids some of the greatest architecture the world has ever seen. How many thousands of years later are those structures still standing? Africans didn't build that. Slaves built it. Israelites, the children of prophets. We shouldn't be cleaving to these other nations, learning how to love our wives and love our kids. Nobody loves better than a Black, Hispanic, or Native American man. Nobody has a better mind than a Black, Hispanic, or Native American man. You understand? We are royalty, children of prophets. Understand who you are. Stop living like these other nations. Moab thought it was a good idea to eat bat, to eat monkeys. And now you got COVID-19 running rampant on the earth. Shoot, I read an article a couple weeks ago. The United States, they're trying to file a lawsuit against Moab for eating bat and monkey and whatever nasty things they eat. Salaki. You understand? Why are you going to live like these people? You understand? Don't marry their women. Don't cleave to these other nations. You're the children of a prophet. The children of prophets. You understand? Let's drop that. Let's go to, we got a couple minutes left. Let's go to Nehemiah 3.
Kana Wakan. The book of Nehemiah, chapter 13, verse 3. Now it came to pass when they had heard the law that they separated from Israel all the mixed multitude.
Khan. In the book of Nehemiah, what was happening here is prophets of the Most High were reading the Bible. They were reading these scriptures. And these other nations heard them reading. All right, read that verse from the top.
Kana Wakan. Now it came to pass when they had heard the law that they separated from Israel all the mixed multitude.
Khan, these other nations, these devils, these heathens, they heard the law and they separated from Israel. These other nations understood that they were not to be, that Israel was to be separate. And that mixed multitude, they separated out of fear of the Most High. Right? These other nations knew what the Most High did to the Egyptians, to the Ethiopians, to the Africans. You understand? They feared the Most High. They saw what the Most High did to Balaam. those false gods that these other nations worship. They feared the Most High. They separated themselves from Israel. So why aren't you separating yourselves from these heathen? Right? Let's drop that. Go to John chapter 4 and verse 9.
Here's the book of John, chapter 4, verse 9. Then said the woman of Samaria unto him, How is it that thou, being a Jew, ask drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealing with the Samaritans.
This heathen woman knew that the Jews were supposed to be separate from the Samaritans. You understand? Why is your Christian pastor telling you to unite with everybody? They say the Old Testament's done away with. Your pastor doesn't follow the Old Testament or the New Testament. Even the heathen women in the New Testament knew that the Jews had no dealings with them. Right? Grab Matthew 15 and verse 24. You understand? These other nations knew that you were supposed to be separate. Look at what the Most High did to the whole earth. He flooded the whole earth because Israelites were sleeping with other nations. They were sleeping with other nations, and evil was multiplying on the earth. These other nations know not to be united with us. These other nations know that they're supposed to be separate from us. Go ahead and read that verse.
This is Matthew 15 and 24. But he answered and said, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
These other nations knew to be separate. Christ knew to be separate. Christ told this dog that he was only sent to the nation of Israel, the lost sheep of the house of Israel. The people walking around calling themselves Black, Hispanic, and Native American. The people walking around calling themselves Jamaican and Haitian, calling themselves Puerto Rican. The people who have no knowledge of self. The people who are lost, following the traditions of these heathen. That is who Christ was sent for. When you go on to read that chapter, you see that woman that he was speaking to, she called herself a dog. She understood her place. She understood who she was as a heathen. You understand? We got to understand who we are as a people. The culture of these other nations has nothing to do with us. And to begin to start learning how to love your people, you got to stop giving your love to all these other nations. Stop giving your time and your money and your wealth, your hard work, your life to these other nations. Give it to your people. Give it to the people that are lost. Give it to the people that are beside you living in the ghetto. Give it to the people that grew up in the same oppression you did. The people that need love, that need to be told their children are prophets. The people who need a physician, who need to be healed. Give your love to that woman who was molested from her uncle. Don't throw that sister away. You understand? All of us are growing up in the exact same hell, the exact same living conditions. You understand? Stop giving your love to these other people and learn to love yourself. Learn to love your brother, your sister. Recognize the value that you have as a Black, Hispanic, and Native American man. All right? And so with that, I'm going to end Tuesday night brotherhood class. All right, let's clap it up. All right, we're going to give the I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K, started at a 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. They need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find it in Numbers 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 to 10. Ma'ashra means tenth in the Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering per priest, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give, please give. Upcoming holy convocations. We have the Feast of Dedication, also known as Hanukkah in the Hebrew, is on the 25th day of the 9th month by the space of 8 days, which on today's calendar is Sunday the 28th of November. You can read about it in the book of 1 Maccabees chapter 4, verses 52 to verse 61. That said, we're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers and a courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, I.M.A.J.M, which means stand in the Hebrew. Going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers. Men of Israel, I.M.A.J.M Shabbat. I.M.A.J.M, Barak, Yahba Shimei Al-Shai Barakatham, Yad Yabata, which means hands down. Sar Akwathian, which means turn and face the sisters. We're going to give a courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, I.M.A.J.M Shabbat, I.M.A.J.M, Barak, Yahweh Shamar Alathan Bashim Al-Shai, Yad Yamata. Class dismissed. All right, again, make sure you hit those sign-out links. Like, share, subscribe. And with that, shalom, Israel.